Annulling Our Promise. Chapter 8. It was 60 days to the wedding. Good morning, sleepyhead. It's Happy Tuesday, Yolanda said chipperly, holding a bed tray. She placed the tray beside Danny, climbing into the bed. The tray had 2 cups of coffee, a bagel with cream cheese, and sliced fruit. Good morning, love of my life. What time is it? And what makes Tuesday happy? Danny asked as he sat up in the bed. It's 6 a.m., and after work, we're meeting with the wedding planners to confirm a couple of things. Hopefully, this will be the last time that we sit with them until we are 2 weeks out. Just knowing that makes me happy. That's right. It's that Tuesday. Cool. I will meet you there. He picked a few grapes out the bowl. I know you forgot, but it's okay, baby. It takes teamwork to make the dream work, and I got you. Yolanda got back up, walking towards the bathroom. I'm going to hop in the shower. Yolanda stood in the doorway and dropped her robe with her back turned to Danny. He almost choked on a grape looking at her peach. She poked it out a little more than normal. Danny didn't need more convincing. He got up and took his briefs and tank top off as he followed her to the bathroom. He pulled the curtain open and stared at her for a second from the far end of the shower. She had her face under the shower head with her head tilted back. What took you so long? She looked over her shoulder at him as she licked her top lip. Danny stepped into the shower and pressed their bodies together. He kissed her lips as she looked back at him. Then he kissed her neck. That neck kiss made the bathroom steamy that morning, not the hot water. By Thursday, I need at least a 500-word paper on what a forensic psychologist means to you. Not the Google definition or anything from out-of-the-class textbooks. I want to know what led you to these studies and how you're going to make your mark in this field. 2 simple but terrifying components I need you to express in your own words. Have a good day, Danny said to the class. Paul, one of his students, walked up to him as he packed his briefcase. Professor Taylor, what if a student has a problem with speaking in layman's terms? Would that hinder a passing grade? Paul asked. Not at all. I want to highlight that the paper needs to come from themselves, not from the internet. I can't grade a person's truth, only their effort. Great. Thanks, Paul said, very relieved, before leaving the classroom. Every time I give them a paper to do, I have one of my favorite students that want the specifics. I see myself in all of them. My dad used to get mad when I would make him repeat how he wants me to do something. Danny thought to himself as he smiled at Paul walking out. What are you thinking about that got you smiling? Jack, Danny's colleague, asked, sitting in the last row of the class. Danny hadn't seen him sitting there. Nothing. You're ready to go? Definitely. Jack stood up, and they were on their way to B-Side Pizza and Wine Bar. They went there every Tuesday to get an Oscar the Grouch pizza. Spinach, black kale, garlic, and mozzarella fonduta. You couldn't get that just anywhere, and it happened to be not far from John Jay College where they worked. At Yolanda's office, Yolanda was going over some work. Who's doing your bachelorette party? Elaine asked her. Elaine was Yolanda's assistant, a work alcoholic with no friends. She'd adopted Yolanda as a friend, but hadn't told Yolanda. She was a young Asian New Yorker who watched old reruns of Sex and the City every night, despite never having had sex in any city. I'm going on a cruise with my girls for 7 days, Yolanda said as she flipped through a napkin pattern catalog on her desk. That's right. But I have to stay here and run the place, so... Yolanda tried not to look at her, keeping her eyes on the catalog. So, we should do something before you leave on your cruise. Maybe go to our spot, just the 2 of us. Thelma and Louise, painting the town orange. Elaine was getting excited. That's red. What's red? Elaine asked, confused. Never mind. What's our spot so I can make reservations? Stop being silly. Kyoto. Okay, I will make a reservation. Do you have the numbers from the Picerake account? I will have them done in an hour, Elaine called as she went to her office. Yolanda shook her head. If Elaine wasn't a marketing genius, She would have been let her go long ago. She could get a bit obsessive. Elaine had said, "Our spot," but Kyoto was just the restaurant Yolanda had her order from when they worked late. They'd never been in there together, or even by themselves for that matter. Her parents were Yolanda's former employer. They were the ones who helped her get the business up and running. The catch was, though, that Yolanda had to show their daughter the ropes for 3 years. She'd been there for 6 years now and had been a great asset to the business. She was like a gift and a curse. An hour later, Elaine sat the folder with the marketing projection numbers on Yolanda's desk. Yolanda picked up the folder and was impressed as she looked it over. The numbers looked better than she thought they would. Yolanda grabbed a courier service envelope and put the paperwork in it before getting the catalogs together and grabbing her purse. As she walked out of the office, she stopped outside of Elaine's door. "I'm going to take the numbers to Pice Rake myself instead of using a courier service. I'm heading out anyway to make this appointment for this wedding. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night," Yolanda said. "Same to you." Yolanda ran the figures to Pice Rake's security desk in the main lobby. Then, she headed out to meet the wedding planner. Dipping through traffic, she tried to avoid being late. Ring, ring. "Hello?" Yolanda answered her cell phone through the Bluetooth in the car. "Baby, where are you?" Danny asked. "I'm outside trying to get a park. I should have caught a cab or an Uber because this is ridiculous. I will be right there. Don't start without me." "You don't have to worry about that. See you shortly." "Don't start without me," if that isn't the funniest thing she said in a long time. She knows I'm not the least bit excited to be here. I love her enough to sit through this circus, to finally have my bride, Danny thought to himself. "Hey, honey," Yolanda said, breaking him out of his thoughts and kissing and hugging him in greeting. "Why are you out here in the lobby?" "I was tired of sitting in there with them. I wanted us to do this together." "Oh, you're so sweet," she blushed. They walked into their suite and sat in the lounge. The secretary soon notified them that the planners were waiting inside and walked them back to the office. "Come in and have a seat," Mr. Couple said as he pointed to a love seat. They sat down on the love seat, and the planners sat across from them in their chairs. They both had organizers and pens in their hands. In front on Danny and Yolanda was a coffee table with catalogs, all with tabs covering them. The tabs held the items that they'd picked out online. "As you can see on the coffee table, we have all your requests. If you flip through the tabs, you can feel the fabric of the clothing. We've clearly tried to make this as painful and nerve-wracking as possible." Mrs. Couple chuckled. "Danny, you can start with the groomsmen's tuxedos, while Yolanda goes through the bridesmaids' dresses." They picked up the catalogs and went straight to the tabs. Danny handed Mr. Couple his booklet before long and gave him the thumbs up. Mr. Couple took the brochure and started writing in his organizer. Yolanda was asking questions to the planners. Before Danny knew it, he was on an island by himself. He tried his hardest not to pull his cell phone out and play a game to kill time. Every few minutes, one of them would ask him a question. "Ain't these long-stemmed calla lilies beautiful?" Yolanda asked as she showed him the picture. "They're stunning," Danny replied. She pulled the picture back and hit him with the side eye as she turned back to Mrs. Couple. Danny watched her closely as they went over the florist, caterer, invitations, and aesthetic vendors. He didn't understand what type of vendors they were, but it made her smile. Truthfully, the only decision he made with these planners were the wedding colors. Yolanda decided white, and he'd added the gold. The funny thing was, he'd decided that 5 months ago. Danny finally pulled his cell phone out and started researching Kenya Crawford on a People Search website. "Danny, it's time for the men to leave the room. Follow me," Mr. Couple said. Danny followed him, thinking to himself, "I'm the only man leaving this room. Mr. Couple is way too excited about planning our wedding." Mr. Couple took him to the stairwell, then opened the door leading to the back of the building. Danny followed him out there to witness another world. It was like a smoke utopia. He didn't realize this many people smoked. "Would you like a cigar?" Mr. Couple asked. "No, I'm good, but I could use a drink." Mr. Couple smiled and pulled 2 shot bottles of Jose Cuervo out his pocket. "That was going to be my second question." He handed Danny a bottle. Danny opened the bottle and downed it. Mr. Couple held his hand out for the empty bottle. "Before you start wondering how a married couple named Couple became wedding planners, let me tell you the story. My wife and I have been happily married for over 35 years. We had a beautiful wedding with a big turnout. Years later, our family always brought up our wedding and how lovely it was. For our 10th anniversary, we decided to get remarried. The wedding party, the whole shebang. This time, we planned it ourselves instead of paying a planner. It was even better than the first wedding. We had such a great time organizing our wedding that we researched the salaries of wedding planners. My wife was the face of it at first. Then I started helping her. We changed our last name from Capuzzi to Couple. With the help of my cousin, the Couple's Wedding Planners was launched. 23 years and counting, with no regrets. I've had many jobs, and even a career as a tax auditor. Nothing I've ever done comes close to this. Helping people make the ultimate memory of the happiest day of most people's lives. For my wife and me to be a part of that puts sparks back into our relationship, and we love it. Mr. Couple took a long pull from the cigar. As he did so, his cell phone chimed like a doorbell. He looked at his cell phone and read the text. "That's my wife. Your fiancée is all done designing her wedding dress. She's looking for you. Tell my wife I will be there shortly." Danny walked back in the building, still thinking about what Mr. Couple had said. Chapter 9. Later that night, as Danny brushed his teeth in the mirror, he thought about Mr. Couple's story. "I've always been a marriage over a wedding person for a long time. I don't know if my father's way of thinking is rubbing off on me, or if I've just been seeing a lot of statistics on big weddings. Not sure how I got there, but Mr. Couple's is one of the good stories," he thought to himself. He spat out the toothpaste and rinsed his mouth out with water. Danny placed his toothbrush in the holder on the sink, making his way into the bedroom. "About time. I was about to come in there and see if you fell in the toilet," Yolanda said, sitting on her chaise at the foot of her bed. "Whatever. I had to get that taste off my tongue. I love Mexican food, but sometimes the spices linger longer than they need to. But when I was brushing my teeth, my mind was going all over the place. Mr. Couple told me the story behind them opening up a wedding planning business together." He stood over her. "Mrs. Couple told me the same story while I was going through the dress catalog. Do you think that's part of their pitch? I don't know, but their story's stuck in my head. The longevity of their marriage and how they were working together for the last 20 years is remarkable. It really made me cherish the moments leading up to our special day. I'm glad to hear you say that. Most men do the whole wedding thing for their wives to be happy, not because they enjoy it. Thank you for acting like you're enjoying the planning on that note. But don't let me catch you on your phone while we're taking care of business. You know better. You're the one who made that rule. I rolled my eyes when I saw you playing that game today. See? It ain't even what you think. I was researching something vital. Trust me, it wasn't no game or social media." He sat next to her. She turned to face him and said, "What could be more important than what we were doing?" Danny closed his eyes and tilted his head back as if he was stretching. He could feel the heat on his face from her staring, even with his eyes closed. He took a deep breath and opened his eyes. "I was trying to get some information on my dad's high school sweetheart. I found a picture over at my Nana's, and she told me how my dad was into her. She's beautiful. Or should I say, she was." He showed her the picture on his phone. "This woman is hard to locate, especially since her or my dad don't use social media." "Yeah, that's a beautiful picture. Why didn't you come to me? I have an uncle that's a private investigator. I'm sure. Baby, I told you I got this. Plus, if this whole thing backfires, I don't want your fingerprints on it. My dad has never said anything bad about you, and I want to keep it like that. Plus, if my two favorite people in the world get into it, you know I got to choose him. Hey, no, I'm just playing. I know you are, and not at the same time. But if you don't want my uncle, get your own detective. Or what? You should look for a mutual acquaintance, friend, family member, or classmate. Or better yet, one of your father's posse. If she was someone that meant something to him, I'm sure one of them know her. What's her name? I will not tell you her name, but I will use what you said. I think I know the person out of the crew, not a posse, that I can ask. You kill me how you mix up stuff, and you're still young. I could imagine when you get old. Danny smiled at her, seeing his Nana all over her. Whatever, you love it. You right, and don't want to lose it. Danny moved in and kissed her on the forehead. He stood up and got the keys out of her dresser. Let me go before it gets too late and I stay over again. You act like that's a bad thing. Never that. I have a few things at the house I need to take care of. I know, I'm being selfish, she grinned. Call me when you make it home. Love you. Love you more. Danny hurried up out of her apartment before she started something that would give him no choice but to stay. No sooner than he pressed the elevator, he got a text from Yolanda. Yolanda. What's her name? Danny. He followed up his text with the emoji of a monkey covering his ears. After he typed his response, he sent it. The elevator opened, and he pocketed his phone, getting in with a smirk on his face. Annulling Our Promise. Chapter 10. Dee walked into the USA Cafe. He looked around until he spotted Danny sitting alone. This better be important. You're cutting into me and the missus' quality time, Dee said to Danny as he sat down at the table. Sorry I didn't say much in the text, but I needed to see you in person. Okay, nephew, spit it out. Do you know Kenya Crawford? Are you serious? That's why you didn't use text. You needed to see me. Why didn't you ask your father? Oh, that's right. It's none of your business. Dee's eyes looked suspicious as he stared at Danny. Hear me out, Uncle D. Don't Uncle D me. You know how your father is. He hates to be surprised, probably more than he hates when someone lies to him. Now you're trying to bring me in the middle of this. I can't do it. Not at all. I'm not trying to put you in the middle of anything. I'm just trying to get someone my dad can settle down with. I came across this picture at my Nana's place. Danny showed Dee the picture on his phone. Nana told me how my dad was head over heels over her. Only thing I need from you is to lead me in the right direction. That's all, I promise. Dee didn't say a word as he stared at Danny. The waitress placed a cup of coffee in front of Dee, along with a menu. Dee started putting sugar and creamer in his coffee. You're not going to say anything? Danny asked. Dee put his finger over his lips as if to tell him to be quiet. Danny shut up and watched Dee fix his coffee. Dee took 2 sips of the coffee, then stood up and pulled out his wallet to pay. When he placed the money on the table, it was on top of a business card. Dee left the diner without saying a word. Danny picked up the business card and read it. Jackie's Caribbean Delights? Danny read out loud, confused. On the other side of town, Eric was entertaining his guest in the so-called boom boom room. You know your team is losing tomorrow? Monica said. Whatever. Your Buccaneers are trash. We're going to kill them, mark my words, Eric said as he walked towards her with their drinks. Eric handed her the drink and sat next to her. They were listening to music while watching the college game on the TV. They always made a little friendly wager when their teams played each other, Eric being a die-hard Giants fan and Monica loving her Bucks. Besides her flexible and chiseled frame, her sports knowledge intrigued him. Also, her living in another state helped them not to burn out on one another. She was one of Eric's friends that probably had more rules than him. Eric put his drink on the end table and laid his head on her lap as he stretched on the couch. What time is your flight? In 2 hours? I have the 11:45 flight to Dallas. Cool. What are you betting for this time? I want you to cook for me and feed me on demand. Monica took a sip of her drink. Wow. You're getting creative. Let me think about what I want. Eric closed his eyes as he thought. I got it. I want you to come over in your flight attendant uniform, minus the hat and panties. And you have to serve me on command. On my command. I love how that sounds. That's a bet. Eric lifted his pinky still with his head laying on her lap. They locked pinkies to make the bet official. He tried to pull his hand down, but she held it tight, placing her drink on the end table and using that hand to tilt his chin back. She pecked his lips 2 times gently before they started kissing passionately. It was weird and exciting for Eric to be kissing her like that. He turned himself around and caressed her face as they kissed. He guided her legs on the couch and slid her down. He raised onto his knees to undress, taking his shirt and tank top off. He grabbed her shirt from her waist and pulled it over her head. They resumed kissing while his hand worked her bra loose from behind. Dad, I need to talk to, Danny was saying, walking down into the basement until he saw them making out. Eric jumped up and sat in front of Monica so that Danny couldn't see her. My bad, Dad. We can talk later. Danny put his hands up, walking back up the few steps he walked down. You okay? Eric asked Monica. Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad that we were just in the beginning, or Danny would have found out that his daddy is a freak. She put her shirt back on. Whatever. I can't out-freak the biggest freak in the friendly skies. They both laughed as they got dressed. Monica ordered an Uber to take her to the airport. They finished their drinks and watched the games as they waited for her ride. Then Eric walked Monica to the Uber and hugged her goodbye. He watched the car drive off for a second, then started walking back into the house. Thanks for the invitation, Bridget yelled through the screen door of her house in her raspy voice. Bridget was Eric's next-door neighbor. She was only 2 years older than him, but cigarettes had taken her down. She was already going to chemo for lung cancer, and she still hasn't stopped smoking. Danny and her son Thomas were best friends. Thomas had been the first friend Danny made when their family moved back to New York from Georgia. Hey, Bridget. I didn't see you over there with all your lights turned out. You know Danny consider you all as family. Have a good night. He tried to get into the house before she started telling him about her last fling. You do the same. I'll talk to you later, Bridget called after him. Danny, come down here, son. Eric yelled up the steps. He walked into the kitchen and sat at the table. My bad, Dad. Danny entered the kitchen. I followed the company handbook. You had the door to the basement open. Plus, I didn't see any car in the driveway or in front of the house. My bad. You good, son. That was my fault. I thought we were done getting it in. That's why the door was open. The funny thing is, she wasn't embarrassed the least bit. We are too similar, he said with a smile, thinking about Monica. But forget all that. What's going on? It's nothing important, but what, son? I need you to tell me more about Mom's. She died when I was 5, so I remember her until that point. I want to know how you knew that you wanted her to be your wife. Was she your first love? I want to know if I feel the same way about Yolanda that you did with Mom's, if that makes sense. Are you getting cold feet, son? No, it's just that you never talked about Mom's. I know we both blocked a lot of things out dealing with her death in our ways, but I need to know more about her life. Mame told me about her from a mother's perspective. I need to hear from your perspective. I will tell you, but promise me that you won't try to compare your relationship to me and your mother's. That's too much pressure. Plus, every relationship has its own love color. You got me? Yes, Dad. I won't compare ours to yours. Eric sat back and began to talk. Your mother, without question, was my soulmate. When I first set eyes on her, I knew she was going to be mine. Our freshman year at college, I never made any advances on her because she was my tutor. But I crushed on her hard, son, more than you could imagine. By me being on the team, I had my share of females on campus. None could compare to how my heart would race every time I was in her presence. I realized it was more than a crush when I got my grades, and I wanted to tell her more than anyone in the world. Not because she was my tutor, but because she believed in me more than anyone ever have. We started dating over the summer of '84. I still have the picture from our first date and kiss. Your mother didn't take any junk, keeping me accountable. Accountable. That was her favorite word. Most men wouldn't like that quality in a woman, but I learned to love it more and more every day. When I blew my knee in my sophomore year at Georgia Tech, your dad hit rock bottom. I was predicted to be an all-conference player that year before that season started. I don't know if it was the expectation or my pride of not being able to do what I love. Whatever it was hard to get out of that funk. Your mother consoled me and motivated me to use this scholarship to the fullest. She stood by me when everyone turned their back on me. Teammates, coaches, and many of the fans. Your mother helped me to realize that most relationships come with conditions. Once a person can't get from you, they find someone else they can get it from. That's why, when I was cleared to play the following year, I wouldn't. I focused on my degree and your mother. Our love grew and kept growing. One day, I was in my dorm reading a textbook for one of my classes, laying in the bed. Your mother was sleeping next to me on her stomach. I placed the book on my chest and watched her back going up and down. Then I looked at the book going up and down in rhythm with hers. I thought to myself while she laid there, she's going to be my wife. I whispered, "Will you marry me?" She woke up and asked me, "What did you say?" I stuttered and told her I didn't say anything and for her to go back to sleep. She said, "Okay, but if you ever asked me, my answer would be yes." I smiled, picked my book off my chest, and started reading again. Our relationship was simple, complicated, easy, and very loving. When I say soulmate, I mean that. I still haven't connected with anyone the way your mother and I have. Mentally, spiritually, and physically. Our connection was heaven sent, the essence of truth. It was easy loving her, even easier than loving myself. Our love was a special type of love, son. Danny was silent for a long moment, processing. Wow. I knew it had to be special, but to hear this, I'm in awe. I have so many questions. How did you propose? What did she say? Was she your first love? And what does love color mean? What, am I on trial? No, but I have almost 30 years of questions for you. I get that, son, but we're not going to make it all up in one night. I will tell you this. She wasn't my first love, but she was my truest love. I'll give you a rain check on the rest, I promise. Eric walked upstairs smiling. Hearing himself tell the story out loud brought joy to him. Danny sat there at the table, trying to visualize the stories his dad had told him. His cell phone rang and knocked him out of his deep thoughts. It was Yolanda. Hello? Danny answered his phone. You texted me and said you were going to call me. Did you forget? No. When I got here, I asked my dad about my mother. He opened up, finally. Hopefully that wasn't our last conversation about her. I need this clarity, closure, or whatever this is. I hope it's not the last time either. I could never act like I understand what you've been through, but I'm here for you. Love you. Get some sleep. Love you too. Good night. Danny ended the call. Upstairs, Eric was sitting at the edge of the bed, with his legs next to the nightstand, holding a picture of Danielle and tilting it so that the light from the lamp would shine on it better. He knew this day would come, the day when Danny would ask him about his mother. Eric thought the older Danny got the easier the conversation would be, but he was evidently wrong. Staring at the picture, tears rolled down his cheeks. He kissed the picture and placed it back in the nightstand before cutting the lamp off. Even in the pitch dark, he could still see her face. It remained in his head until he fell asleep. Annulling Our Promise. Chapter 11. Danny's alarm clock was going off. The noise kept getting louder and louder until Eric couldn't take it. "Turn that damn alarm off," Eric yelled through Danny's closed door. Danny still didn't turn it off. Eric finally opened the door and walked over to the clock on the nightstand. He turned the clock off, then shook Danny to wake him up. "Did you have this alarm set for something? Or did you set it to wake me up?" Danny opened his eyes slowly and stretched. "My bad, Dad. I'm going to church with Nana this morning. It didn't even feel like I was sleeping that hard. Let me get up before she starts calling me." Danny wiped the drool from around his mouth. "You better, because you know she will call repeatedly." Eric went back to his room. Danny got out of the bed and hopped in the shower. After he got dressed, he headed to Nana's place. On his way, he dialed Wifey on the car's Bluetooth. Ring, ring. "Good morning, handsome." Yolanda answered the phone. "Good morning, baby. Are you getting ready for church?" "Yes. I'm running a little behind, but what's new?" "You can say that again." "Whatever. You called to see if I was going to church?" "Yes and no. I met with someone out the crew last night, trying to get some information on the female in the picture. He didn't tell me much, but he left a business card. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the card because he didn't say anything." "What type of business is it?" "It's a Caribbean restaurant." "That's good." "Why you say that?" Danny asked, baffled. "That's an establishment that anyone can go to. Take your Nana there after church. Maybe when you get there you might realize why your Uncle Donald didn't tell you anything. Be friendly, and you might get the information that you're looking for." "That sounds like a plan. I hope that Nana likes Caribbean food." "Thanks. I heard you try to be slick and throw Uncle D into the conversation. Pray for me at church. Love you." "Love you more." Yolanda ended the call. Danny picked up Nana, and they went to church. Ding dong. Eric headed to the door wondering who was ringing his bell. He hoped it wasn't anyone selling something. "Who is it?" he yelled aggressively, but when Eric peeped through the peephole, he saw Bruce standing there. He opened the door, and Bruce let himself in. "What you doing out here? Don't tell me. You're meeting some chick out here at a hotel. Am I right?" Eric asked Bruce. "Nah. I dropped my youngest off at the mall. He met up with his friend, so I decided to shoot over here. I wanted to talk to you about something." "Hold that thought. I'm putting my dinner together. Let us take this conversation in the kitchen." In the kitchen, Eric started washing the beef ribs in the sink. "Check this. Before you say I'm in my feelings, hear me out. I didn't like how Dee put me on blast when we went to Fat Buddha to celebrate his promotion. You know I can take a joke with the best of them. Hell, I probably joked the most out of the crew. But for real, I'm starting to think Dee's taking my situation personal. I get it. I'm married, and I could be doing better than I am. But that's my choice. Everything ain't for everybody, and ain't none of us perfect. Not even him. I've tried my hardest to let him slide since he got saved, but it's getting ridiculous. I feel like he's judging me to the point where it's almost violating our friendship. What you think?" That's a hard one," Eric hummed. "The sad thing is, you're right. I can't blame you for feeling that way." "What you mean, the sad thing?" "Usually we don't see eye to eye, you know that. I feel you on this one. I hope that when you confront him you have an endgame." "I got an endgame, all right. The games stop here. We don't have to rock with each other if he can't stop getting at me on my business. This my business, and he need to mind his," Bruce said, looking at him with a sour on his face. "You're serious?" "I'm dead serious. Let me call Dee so you'll get past this now." Eric put the ribs in the crock pot, then washed his hands and dialed Dee. Danny left before the pastor gave the benediction to get the car and met Nana in front of the church. Nana talked to a few people in the congregation as she headed outside. Danny was starting to get impatient. Almost the whole church came through the doors before Nana. Finally, she said her goodbyes and got in the car. The pastor got it in today. He almost got a few tears to run down my face. Did you enjoy the service? Danny asked. Yes. The word was awesome. But if she said, touch your neighbor one more time. Lord knows I was going to go up there and touch her, Nana said. You're a mess, Nana. I hope you're hungry. I have a taste for some Caribbean food. I wish you would, and I made all that food last night. Let me do something for you? Plus, I don't remember the last time I treated you out to eat. I'm still going to get my usual plates when I drop you off. Believe that. Well, if you get your plates, we can go. That's why I love you, Nana, Danny said. Then he blew a kiss at her as he drove to the restaurant. Nana smiled as she looked out the window. They pulled up, and Nana got out, while Danny tried to find a parking spot. Danny came back walking, twirling his keys on his finger. Why didn't you go into the waiting area? Danny asked. I wanted to get a little fresh air before we're in Funky Town. Huh? What are you talking about? You know they don't wear deodorant. Nana turned her lip up. Danny laughed to himself as he opened the door to the restaurant. They walked in and were very impressed by the atmosphere. Red, black, green, and yellow were everywhere. The tables had candles inside of real coconut shells. Even the music was very soothing. Nana looked at Danny with a shocked expression. Just the two of you? The hostess asked, in a Jamaican accent. Yes, Danny replied. Follow me, the hostess said. She grabbed 2 menus and walked them to their table, placing them on the table and lighting the candle. Danny and Nana took their seats. Your waitress will be with you shortly, she said before she walked off. Nana looked through the menu as Danny looked around the restaurant. Is Yolanda meeting us out here? No. Why you say that? You're looking around like you're waiting for someone. Nah. Just impressed with how they have this place decorated. It almost looks like this spot Yolanda and I went to in Freeport, Bahamas. If the jerk chicken tastes close to what I had in Freeport, I found me a new spot. I'm impressed, too, that it doesn't smell like musky refugees in here, Nana said, a half smile on her face. Shh. Don't say that too loud. I haven't got my food yet. I don't need them to put anything extra on my plate. What could be more extra than jerk? I wish I would pay for something with jerk on it. Stand for something or fall for anything. Nana kept reading the menu. I can't win with you. Danny shook his head at Nana with a faint smile. Then he picked up the drink menu. Are y'all ready to order? The waitress asked. Yes. Let me get the jerk chicken with cabbage and yams. What's your drink? A coconut water, Danny said. Then he handed her his menu. I will have the curry shrimp, mac and cheese, and collard. Give me a glass of red wine. The waitress took the menus and walked away. 2 minutes later, she placed their drinks on the table. Danny took a sip while noticing a couple making selections at the jukebox. When they walked away, he went to the jukebox. He put $5 in and started flipping through the screen. Is that you, Mrs. Pat? A woman asked as she stared at Nana. The one and only, Nana said, very confidently. You ain't changed a bit. I'm Jackie, Kenya's sister. Jackie hugged Nana. I know who you are. I can't count how many times I had to put you and your sister out of my house. Y'all was too beautiful to follow behind Donald and my son with their foolishness. I might be a little gray, but my sight and memory are baby fresh. She wasn't dressed like any of the employees. Danny finished making his selections. Then he walked to the table. Jackie looked at him. Nana and her started laughing. What? What's so funny? Danny asked as he took his seat. Nosy, just like his father. If he isn't Eric's twin, Jackie said, looking at Danny's face. You know my dad? He thought to himself, is this Kenya? Yes, too well. I'm Jackie, Kenya's sister. Danny looked at Nana. Then he stood up and extended his hand. Nice to meet you. Jackie looked at his hand as she moved in and hugged him. I wish you would try to shake my hand. You're practically family. Your grandma just told me that you're getting married. Congrats. Do you have a caterer? Yes, we already gave them the deposit and signed the contract. Danny sat back down. That's okay. I had to ask. I would still love to be a witness of your special day. She pulled a business card out her back pocket and wrote her cell phone number on the back. Then she passed it to Danny. Miss Pat, it was nice to see you. I'm going to stop by and see you now that I know where you are. We gotta catch up. You still like pink champagne? You know it, Nana said. Good. Enjoy y'all meal, and I will be waiting for that invite. Jackie walked off. The waitress brought their food out and placed it on the table. Do you need anything else? No, we good, honey, Nana said. Nana prayed over their food. Then they started eating. What was y'all laughing about when I walked up? Danny asked. Nothing, Nana said with a smirk. Danny side-eyed her, knowing she wasn't telling the truth. When he took her home, Nana walked straight to the kitchen. Danny walked around the living room, looking at the pictures on the wall that he had seen millions of times. She fixed him 2 to-go plates of food, placing them in a grocery bag, and walking into the living room. He took the bags from her and kissed her on the cheek. You're the best, Nana. Love you. Thanks for the food. Love you too, baby. Danny opened the door, walked out, and went to close it behind him. But Nana grabbed the knob and stopped it from closing. Danny turned around to face the door. Make sure you call Jackie to see what you can find out about Kenya, Nana said. And then she shut the door in his face. Danny stood there a second, with his eyebrow raised before walking to the elevator. Back at the house, Bruce and Eric were watching the game in the Boom Boom room. Bruce's team was the Packers. They'd won Thursday, and he had no problem telling Eric every few minutes. Eric was getting frustrated. 30 seconds before halftime, the Bucks were up by 6 points. Monica had already texted him a picture of Bentley the butler, rubbing in their bet. By halftime, the Bucks were still at 16 points, and the Giants were at 10. Eric got up, disappointed, to get some beers. I don't know why you surprised. You all can't put 2 winning seasons back to back. Just face it, Bruce said. Whatever. You keep talking like that and I'm going to start charging you for your beers. The front doorbell rang. That better be Dee. I don't mind waiting, but watching your sorry team is killing me. Eric gave Bruce the middle finger. Then he grabbed his cell phone off the bar and called Dee. Hello? Dee answered. Come in the side door, it's open. We downstairs. Cool. Dee ended the call. Eric handed Bruce a Heineken. Dee came in the side door and walked down the steps. Dee gave them both dap. What's going on that you couldn't speak over the phone? Do we have someone trying to sue us for some damage we done on their property? Dee said, looking at them. The crew had a landscaping business that they'd started 20 years ago. The landscaping crew. The 4 of them began the business to have something for their children. They thought it would be great to see, out of all their kids, who would keep the business going. No. I called you over here because you and Bruce need to talk. I'm going to leave y'all down here. Don't tear up the Boom Boom room, Eric said. You don't gotta leave. Matter of fact, I'd rather you be here, Bruce said. Dee looked at Bruce, then at Eric, not knowing what was going on. Eric sat down while they both stood. Do you have some animosity towards me? Bruce asked Dee. Dee didn't say anything. He just frowned in disbelief of what he'd just heard come out of Bruce's mouth. Bruce tried again. Or, did I do something to you that I'm not aware of? No and no. Where is this coming from? I'm just trying to understand why you have been coming at me sideways about my marriage. The key word is my. That's my marriage. My business. You right? But when did I come at you about your business or your marriage? You can't be serious. You've got real comfortable telling me what I should be doing in my marriage. The last time was when I came to your promotion celebration with Shorty. I've been letting you slide because you just got saved. I went through the same thing when my sister got saved. Trust me, I get it. I know I could be doing better in my marriage, as well as other areas in my life. But this judging and taking shots stops today. Bruce clapped his hand aggressively with his words. Wow. You really in your feelings? But I'm going to let you live. I'm not saying anything about you and your marriage after today. We have been boys too long to let something like this come between us. That's what I'm thinking. That's why it's been bothering me. Help me understand one thing. Why stay married if you are running around with so many other chicks? Do you think you should be single? That's a hard one. I guess. The same reason you were cheating on your first wife. Exactly. I'm trying to keep you from losing everything like I did. My ego and I was trying to sex the world. I wish someone would have kept it real with me. I love you, and I just want better for you and Angel. I wish it was that simple. Me and Angel relationship has been over for years. If it wasn't for the kids, I would have been left. It might sound crazy, but my side pieces help me deal with my wife and her ways. If it wasn't for them, I'd probably be in a straitjacket right now. I can give you my marriage counselor number. No thanks. I got 6 more years before my youngest passed that child support threshold. And I'm out. Say no more. Sorry for judging your situation without talking to you about it. We good? Dee asked. They dapped up each other. To the soil. Annulling our promise. Chapter 12. Jackie set her phone on her kitchen table at home as it rang on speakerphone. After the 5th ring, she picked it up, ready to hang up. Hey, little sis. Kenya finally answered her phone, and Jackie set hers back down. Hey, guess who came into the shop today? Jackie asked. Barack, Nas, Porzingis? You know I don't play the guessing game. Just tell me, Kenya said sassily. Okay, no fun, Nina. Calm down. Mrs. Pat and her grandson. She looks as young as ever. What's the odds on that, seeing her after all these years? Did she remember you? Definitely. She asked about you. She wants you to come to her grandson's wedding. She believed that her grandson brought her into the restaurant to see me. He saw the prom picture of you and Eric at her place. He thinks she doesn't know what he's doing. What is he doing? Ain't it obvious? He's trying to hook you and Eric up. Have you been hitting the bottle? Because you sound crazy. Do I? We'll see. When her grandson Danny reaches out to me, I asked to go to his wedding if he has any open spots. He's going to check with his fiancée. Why did you do that? Mrs. Pat told me to. Both of y'all have lost your mind. I haven't spoken to Eric in over 25 years. And that was when he moved back to New York from Georgia. If he wanted to reach out to me, he knows how to get me. To my understanding, he hasn't got a clue to what his son is doing. Danny is doing this on his own. Well, I hope it works out, but I'm not going to involve myself. What did Zachary say about you doing this? I haven't told him yet. Once Danny reaches out to me, I'll see what he's up to. And I'll call you back after I book your flight. Whatever. Jackie could hear the smile in Kenya's voice. I called to give you the heads up while it's still fresh on my mind. Let me hop in the shower. We going to the movies? Love you, girl. Love you too. Kenya ended the call, then stood there for a second in deep thought. She walked to her kitchen and hit the light switch behind the refrigerator, opening the door next to the fridge and walking into the garage. She scanned the boxes stacked in the corner to locate an old box. She stacked a few boxes into a new pile to get the box labeled Awards. She sat on the pile as she opened the awards box. Searching through it, she pulled out a manila folder, labeled News Clips in Sharpie. She unwrapped the string and opened the folder, pulling a few Georgia Tech basketball newspaper clippings out before she pulled out the picture. Their prom photo. She reminisced on them dancing at the prom. Eric was looking into her eyes, and their love was pure. They danced to Slow Hand by the Pointer Sisters. She smiled fondly, then flipped the picture over and read the back. I had a great time at your prom. Your beauty was breathtaking tonight. Jane Kennedy, beautiful. Love you, Eric. It would be nice to see him again, Kenya thought to herself, still smiling at the picture. Annulling Our Promise. Chapter 13. 50 days from the wedding, Danny was packing up his briefcase after finishing his last class of the week. He scanned the desk to make sure he didn't forget anything, patted his pocket for his cell phone, and pulled it out. Call Jackie Mobile, Danny said to his phone. The phone dialed Jackie's number. After only one ring, he ended the call and put his phone in his pocket as he walked out of the classroom. He had been attempting to call Jackie the last few days, but hadn't followed through. Yolanda had offered to make the call, but he refused her help. That was his best attempt thus far. As he opened the front door of the school to walk to his car, his phone started ringing again. He pulled the phone out of his pocket to see that it was Jackie. After the third ring, he answered it. Hello? Danny answered. Someone from this number just called my phone, Jackie said. This is Danny, Eric's son. Sorry, I hung up, but I got another call as I was calling you. You're good, sweetheart, unless you're calling me with bad news about me coming to your wedding. Not at all. I got you down with a +1. Thanks. I've been waiting for this phone call. I will see you there. Thanks again. Don't hang up. Do you have a minute? Yes, I'm free at the moment. This might sound a little out of left field, since I just met you the other day. Your sister Kenya? What about Kenya? Jackie said, sounding puzzled. Is she married? Yeah, you went left, Jackie answered. But she's no longer married. Good. I mean, not good for her. Well, let me explain. I'm trying to find my dad a date or a love connection for my wedding. He hasn't had a serious relationship for nearly 30 years since my mother's death. I'm sorry to hear that. Thanks. As I visited my Nana, I stumbled on a picture of my dad in Kenya. My Nana told me a little about my dad's love for her. I might be reaching or even out of my mind, but I believe that stumbling on that picture wasn't a coincidence. Can she be your +1? She can, because my husband doesn't do weddings. I will try my hardest to get her to come. I will fly her in, pay for her hotel and rental car. All her expenses will be taken care of. Wow, I'm impressed. You're going hard for your dad on your special day. Danny laughed. I got to. He sacrificed his wants and needs to raise me. I know that's what most parents do. He just did it without any second guessing. Hopefully, Kenya has a spark that needs to be lit too. You really are Eric's child. You're confident that if she comes up here, love will handle the rest. You don't even know her dating status. My Nana always said, either you're married or single. There's no gray area. Plus, I believe in love, faith, and opportunity. You convince her, and I will handle the rest. Okay, Captain Stubbing. Captain who? Before your time. Let me call Kenya now. Great. Bye. Danny ended the call, feeling relieved as he walked to his car. Jackie called Kenya, but Kenya didn't answer. She texted instead. Jackie, call me when you get a second. Annulling Our Promise. Chapter 14. 49 days from the wedding. Hurry up! The driver is waiting for us, Danny yelled up the steps. Eric walked down the steps to see the front door left open. He grabbed his keys out of the bowl on the dining room table. Eric locked the door, then got in the car with Danny. The driver started heading to Chelsea Piers. You're funny, Dad, Danny said. Why you say that? You're the one who planned this, and yet you're running behind. I'm running late to your standards. To the crew, I'm early, mark my words. Bowmore Lanes doesn't close until 2 a.m. Are you sure you and the senior crew can hang out that late? Whatever. You'll find out shortly. When I'm laying down, those go Bundy strikes. He crossed his forearms, making an X. You might win the first game, but that's it. I hear you, son. They sat in silence for about 5 minutes, looking out their respective windows, until Danny asked the question that he hoped would get the conversation rolling. "Can we finish the conversation that we had the other night?" I knew this was coming. "What you want to know?" "How did you propose to Moms?" Wow. Eric paused with his hand over his mouth, looking down, trying to think hard. After about 30 seconds, he moved his hand away again and started telling Danny about the day. That was what Danielle and Eric had called it. It was award night at Georgia Tech. I was getting dressed. It was a formal event. Dee was in the bathroom. Your mother walked in and was looking stunning. Her curls were hanging perfectly. She had on this gold gown that took my breath away. It was sexy and classy at the same time. Sleeveless V-neck gown that showed too much for me, but at the time, I was very protective of your mama. She sat on my bed and started looking through this magazine that was on my nightstand dresser. I waited for Dee to leave the room when I asked her to pass me the cufflinks out of the top drawer. When she opened the drawer, my heart started racing. I've been going over this day so many times in my head, but I felt my heart trying to come through my tucks. She walked to me with the cufflinks box. I held my sleeve out for her to put on the cufflinks. She looked at me with the side eye, you know? Then she opened the box to see the engagement ring. She froze, holding the ring in her right hand and the box in the other. I dropped to one knee, reached up to pull her hand to her side. She wouldn't relax her hands enough for me to pull it down. I pulled a little harder, and I was able to dislodge the ring from her hand. I took the box out her left hand, then threw it on the floor. Holding her left hand, I looked up at her as nervous as I could be. I took a deep breath, and before I could finish exhaling, tears started rolling down her cheeks. When I first met you, I knew you were going to be mine. I even envisioned you being my wife before we ever shared a kiss. Over the years, my love has only grown stronger for you. Everything in my life that is good, you either led me there, assisted me, or have given it to me. I hope that I have filled your life with joy as you have for me. I can go on, but what I'm trying to say is, will you marry me? Of course, she said. Yes. Then she dropped on her knees, and we kissed. When we stood up, I placed the ring on her finger. I yelled it official, like a referee whistle. We laughed and hugged. Dee and your mother's girlfriend Paula came in with a bottle of champagne and glasses. Wow. I could only imagine how she felt. You were romantic even at a young age. Yeah? The crew used to call me Lover Boy. I wrote the crew love letters for girls they were trying to get with. The ironic thing is, more you open up, the more it's like meeting you for the first time, Dad. You know me, son. I think when your mother died, a certain part of me might have died with her. Or should I say, been packed away. That's enough talking about your mother. We are going to get our drink on and talk about your future, not my past. You right, but can you answer one more question? I promise it's not about Moms. Yeah, shoot. The last time you were talking, you said something about love color. I tried to Google that, but some foreign singing group came up. I know that's not what you mean. Is it? Not at all. It's something that I made up for me to stop comparing different relationships. I believe that every person brings their color to the relationship. For instance, I always saw my color as blue. Therefore, every relationship I enter, I bring that color with me. Now, let's say I get into a relationship with a person, and her color is yellow. The more we come together as one, the more we'll make the prettiest green you ever saw. The less of our color you see individually, the greater we came together as one. On the flip side of that, if we break up, I leave with my blue. Then, when I get with someone else, we will make our own color. If she's red, we will make purple. No two relationships will make the same color, even if the people have the same colors as a prior relationship. We might be created the same, but never exactly. You get it? Danny nodded thoughtfully. Do I? That was deep, Dad. You need to get that published. I don't know what made you think like that on that level, but I'm going to use that. My biological dad made me think on that level with all his mess, but that's another story. I hear you. My dad really is opening up. I've heard him reference his father only a few times my whole life. It was always in a negative way. This time he said his biological, and he's the only dad he ever had in his life. My Nana never had him around any other men, Danny thought to himself as they made it to the city. Kenya sat on her couch watching TV as she texted back and forward with her daughter. Her daughter Kelsey lived back on the East Coast, in Richmond, Virginia. She was an assistant girls basketball coach at VCU. Kels. Love you, Mom. I will tile Kenya. Love you too. After Kenya pressed send, she scrolled through some of her other texts. She saw the last text that she'd sent Jackie. She never got back to her the other day. She dialed Jackie's number. On the first ring, Jackie answered. I guess you are just getting out that meeting, Jackie said, trying to be funny. I'm sorry, I was so drained after that meeting. Then it slipped my mind even to hit you back. My bad, girl. I got that call about the wedding. Just like I said, he wants you to be in attendance. Did he say that? Or you're just assuming? You know how you do. Miss Cleo always knows. Kenya smiled, referring to Cleo the psychic. Stop playing. He said it himself. And he also said he would pay for all your expenses. Are you serious? Kenya was stunned. Yes. From your flight, hotel, and car rental. He wants you to be there. Wow. I know, right? He's very confident that if he gets you there, Eric will be happy to see you. He reminds me of Eric. Not saying I'm going to come yet. But when is the wedding? The Saturday after Thanksgiving on the 25th. Let me see if Jacob is bringing the family to Cali for the holidays. His wife's family lives about an hour from here. If he's not coming, I will pay my way. I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I can visit Kelsey and the kids in VA, then shoot to the city for the wedding. Okay, I will tell him you're coming. Love you. Bye. Jackie ended the call before Kenya could say anything more. Kenya looked at her phone and smiled. She got up off the couch, then walked in front of the fireplace. She turned back to face the couch, looking into the mirror over the couch. She sucked in her stomach and poked her butt out, standing on her tippy toes. The duck lip faces she was making were priceless. After profiling, she skipped into her bedroom with the biggest teenage girl-esque smile. You up, nephew? And you're in last place. Let me find out the elderly crew is smashing you. Yeah. E told us what you said. Who's old now? Huh? Bruce jeered as he gave Eric a high five. Danny looked at them as he picked up his bowling ball off the rack. He shook his head as he set up to bowl. 3 steps, then his curved release. The ball spun from the right side of the lane to the left. Danny felt a strike coming. The ball hit the lead pin. Danny turned to face them, as if he knew it was a strike. Bruce, Eric, and Malik all shrugged their shoulders at him. Surprised, Danny turned around to see he left a split. The last 2 pins on each side hadn't fallen. As Danny waited for his ball to come back up the rack, Dee walked up. Dee gave everyone dap and took off his jacket off, set it on the chairs, then walked to the bar. Danny knocked one of his pins down. He picked up his mug and took a celebratory drink. Dee returned with a mixed drink. I paid for 2 more pitchers and 50 mixed wings. Damn, Dee said, shocked, when he glanced at the score. I see somebody got their wedding on their mind, not winning. Dee looked at Danny. I'm good. I always start slow, but the strikes are on the way, Danny assured. Speaking of strikes, have you thought hard about this marriage? Did you cross your T's and dot your I's, nephew? Bruce asked. Danny looked at Bruce, and then he looked at his dad. He knew his dad was up to something, inviting him out with the crew. Danny smiled when he answered Bruce. Yes. I thought long and hard. I'm ready, and she's ready. That's good. With you out the way, I'll take your black book, Malik said. Everyone laughed, except Danny. You crazy? Danny said. No, I'm serious. A black book is for emergencies, break in case of fire, or a bad argument, whichever comes first. All my contacts are on my phone, plus they stored on my Google account. We not in the Stone Ages no more. Okay, Mr. Technology. When you get married and one of those chicks decide to call you while you're laying in the bed with your wife, the stone she hit you with ain't gonna be from no Stone Age. You feel me? I didn't think about that. Good looking. Remember, not only married people have good advice. Delete, block, or change their names in your phone. Think ahead and be prepared, because marriage is serious, Malik said. I got you. Remember everything that we say tonight and take heed. Put God ahead of your life and let Him govern your marriage, Dee chimed in. As long as you all are evenly yoked, you can withstand any storm. Trust and believe in your Heavenly Father. Listen to your Uncle D, because if anyone can blend God into every situation holding Ciroc and cranberry, it's him, Eric said with a chuckle. They all laughed at D while he twisted his lips. They played 5 or 6 games. Drink after drink, the crew got to see Danny in rare form. There were so many plates of wings on the table, yet they wouldn't let the waitress take the plates. They kept telling her they were still eating off them. They liked to play this little game, to see how long it took before the waiter or waitress got frustrated. Danny still hadn't won a game, and it was after 1 a.m. The spot would close in less than an hour. Tell the waitress to get another round of Patron, Danny said, as he waited for his ball to come back on the rack. Malik waved a waitress down and told her to get the waitress that waiting on lane 40. She returned to the bar. Yo, did I tell y'all what happened when I had a bad Viagra experience? The waitress reminded me of the young chick I bagged in D.C., Malik said. Nah, Dee said. What D.C. chick? Eric asked. No, but I gotta hear this, Bruce said. Danny, come over here. You need to hear this, Malik said, all hyped up. Danny walked over and sat down with the rest of them. Malik stood up and started telling his story. Check it. I was in D.C. promoting one of my artists. He was doing 6 shows in the DMV area. I was at this spot at the bar and met this girl. A bad red bone, long hair all hers. She had on this romper that wasn't tight but was fitting her so sexy. You know I don't play any games, so I hit her with my favorite line. You coming home with me or I'm riding with you? I said, all seductive looking straight in her eyes. Excuse me? She'd said. My bad. My name is Malik. I'm in town on business promoting this artist. When I saw you, something in my mind told me we need to spend some time with each other. We don't have to go to my hotel or your place. But something in my soul is telling me that I need to get to know you, and vice versa. Then she leaned back and stared at me for a second. You serious? She said, looking me up and down. So serious. When the energy is right, I follow my heart. Maybe I'm reading you wrong, but your eyes are telling me to pay out our tabs and let's find a place to eat. You hungry? Because I know I am, I'd said. To make a long story short, we left her car and went to eat at Bourbon Steak at the Four Seasons Hotel. She didn't know at the time, but that was the hotel I was staying. We chatted over dinner. Her name was Leslie, and she was from Cali. She wrote a column at one of the papers in D.C. She was bougie, valley girl, mixed with a little urban flavor, but not ghetto. She started rubbing her foot up my leg, then went to my crotch. I looked at her with a don't start this face, and she looks back like, let's start this. When she went to the bathroom, I pulled out a Viagra and broke it. I took 1/2 with a sip of water. I knew she had a few glasses of wine, but when she came back from the bath, she looked different. She whispered, I'm ready. And she showed me her panties balled up in her hand. Check, please. I'd shouted to a waiter that wasn't mine. I snuck and took the other half of the pill as the waiter took my card to cash me out. Riding the elevator to the room, she sucked my tongue like she was giving me oral. When I opened the room door, she kicked off her heels and sat Indian style on the couch. She reached in her purse and pulled out a small jewelry box. When she opened it, I could smell the loud she had in there. She started rolling a joint. I'm looking around to see where she could smoke that at. The windows wouldn't open, and I didn't have a balcony. I was like, "Ma, you might have to go downstairs and smoke that, maybe in the parking deck. This room is a non-smoking room. You already saw how they were looking at us when we were eating." "That's cool. I respect that," she said. I felt relieved. She put the joint up and pulled out a bag of mushrooms. "Come here and take one with me," she said, as she held two in her hand. "I don't do shrooms," I'd said, looking at her. "Don't or won't. This is natural. Google it. You can't get addicted to mushrooms. You need to worry about getting addicted to this," she'd said. I bit my lip looking at her sexy ass. Then I flopped on the couch beside her. I took the shroom out her hand, and we tapped the shrooms as if we were making a toast. We ate them. She smiled, then got up and turned on some slow music on her phone. She danced to music as she was one with the music. I felt like Nano Brown watching G-Money Girl. She took off all her clothes and jumped in the bed. I got up and got a condom. We were getting it in for 20 minutes or so before I started feeling funny. I thought I might be a late reaction from the shroom. I'm hitting it from behind. Then I started having a sneezing episode. My tongue on the side started itching, like I was having an allergic reaction. I tried to keep it together, trying not to stop our session. Then the last sneeze happened, and my right arm got stiff. It was stiffer than a broom. I couldn't bend it. I was scared to death, praying and everything. My heart was racing, but I couldn't stop. It was like I was possessed. She turned her head and told me to slap her butt and talk dirty. I start slapping her left side with my left hand and talking dirty. Then she said, "The other side, baby." I tried with my right hand, but it was too stiff. It was stretched straight out like a crossing guard stopping traffic. I had to slap her right side with my left hand. I caught a glance of me doing that in the mirror. I looked like a handicapped cowboy at a rodeo on a horse. I pulled it off and she fell asleep. I couldn't sleep though, 'cause my arm was stiff for 2 hours after my penis went down. I haven't used a Viagra or shrooms after that night. "True story," Malik said, ending his tale. "Wow. I've heard of a lot of bad Viagra stories. But yours takes the cake. You had an arm on, not a heart on. Wow. You were hitting her with that stop in the name of love sex." Bruce laughed as he raised his arm up, doing a stop motion while humping at the same time. They all started laughing then. Danny laughed so hard that he started to gag. "Hand down, man down," Dee said. Then he took Danny to the bathroom. They saw Eric threw some napkins onto the throw-up and heard Bruce going to the bar to tell them they needed the check and someone to clean up the mess. Danny rinsed his mouth out and took off his shirt. He threw his shirt in the trash, pulled out his tank top from where it was tucked in his pants, and fixed himself in the mirror. "Thanks, Unc, for giving me that card. I talked to Jackie. Hopefully she can convince Kenya to come to the wedding," Danny said, slurring his words. "First of all, I didn't give you no card. Furthermore, this isn't a conversation we need to be having. Now or never. You got it?" Dee looked at Danny with a serious expression. "Yes, I got it. Mum's the word," Danny said slowly as he put his finger over his lips. "Come on, with your drunk tail. Remind me never to drink with you."